Всем привет! Сегодня мы проходим, начинаем проходить Sherlock Holmes, Crimes and Punishments какой-то. Если неправильно прочитал, если что, напишите. Начинаем. Такое вот начало. Книжка упала. Ого, это что такое? Это что творится? Так, куда надо? Что надо делать? Софа, укрыться. Что за фигня? Стол. Что происходит? Вы сумасшедший, Шерлок. Что творится? Что это такое? Что за бред? Это вы, Ватсон? Да, конечно, я его чуть не убили. Чепуха, я целился в вас. Звездными глазами вы. Ватсон, пожалуйста, кто Ладно, я буду читать. Полицейский. 9-й ступенька скрипнул инспектор Луд-стрит.
Lestrade. What is it this time?
You can see me? Well, here it is, and it's a good one, Mr. Holmes. Gentleman by the name of Peter Carey, also known as Black Peter, has been murdered.
A sailor, most probably.
What happened here?
Что ж случилось?
Oh, Mr. Holmes, how could you?
It's the only exercise I'd had all week. A grateful client from Limoges sent me a vase collection this morning. I couldn't think of a better use for it.
You're out of your mind.
I missed 4 out of 10.
Given you were blindfolded, that was very good. Can I have a try?
Am I the only sane one here?
I suppose that Watson is right, Inspector. A little brain work would be preferable now. Do please tell us more about Peter.
Peter Carey.
Питер Керри родился в 1845 году, ему 50. Амбициозный, добился больших успехов в охоте на тюленей китов в Скандинавии. Шел в отставку в 1484 году. Он жил свои деньги в местечке Вудмансли возле Форест-Роуд в Суссексе. Там он прожил 6 лет, и там его вчера нашли днем.
Yes and no. In fact, this crime is so mysterious that I would prefer you to join me down there.
Give me half an hour to prepare, Inspector.
Take your time and join me there. I have to go through the yard first. The merry men struck again.
What have they done this time?
They robbed a powder reserve. I'll meet you at Woodman's Lee, Mr. Holmes.
I should have Mrs. Hudson here. I also have several appointments that I must keep this afternoon.
I shall go alone then.
Долго, конечно, не болтают. Так, Бейкер-стрит, Вудмансли.
I cannot leave yet. I am not finished here.
Ну, так. Раскрыть убийство Питера Керри. Что за бред делать? Да знаю задачи. Стань. Так. Где гардероб? Так, ну-ка, секундочку. Ладно, продолжаем, значит. за бредня? Секунду, продолжаем.
My archive. I can always consult with it if needed. This is where I keep my post. My archive. I can always consult with it if needed.
Так, значит, нужно найти гардероб. Или это слепой, или... Ага. Вот. Че, дурак, что ли? Позже будет гардероб, не?
I cannot leave yet. I am not finished here.
Что ты не закончил?
A map of London and the surrounding area. It could be useful.
You go along to Peter Carey's house. Mrs. Hudson and I will take care of the mess you've made here.
Все хорошо. Ага. Слушайте. Японский городовой.
My analysis table. It is useful for my work.
Ага, вот еще одна дверь. Что-то я ее пропустил. Вот. Так. Что это? Ужас. Так, очки. Закрыты. Все закрыто. Так, интересно. Ага, все, он переоделся, значит. Что у нас в шкафу есть? Значит так. Вот так. Все хорошо. Чем-то эта игра мне напоминает Мафию 2. Если проходили, то знаете. Так. Дурак ты. Беспорядок, ужасный беспорядок. Так.
A map of London and the surrounding area. It could be useful.
Как ее взять? Что за игра такая?
A map.
Так. Что-то я торможу совсем. Бить не
You go along to
умею.
Peter Carey's house. Mrs. Hudson and I will take care of the mess you've made here.
Ну-ка, ну-ка, ну-ка. А, вот.
A map.
Так как же выйти? О, наконец-таки. Так. Приехали. Хорошо. Наконец-то приехали. Сцен тут очень много. Ужас просто. О, полицейский какой-то.
Mr. Holmes, I'm over here. Come on.
Сюда. Бежим. Что за фигня? Что за... О.
It seems that the garden was well maintained.
Inspector Lestrade, when will you remove my husband's body? It's sacrilegious to leave him here like this.
As soon as we can, Mrs. Carey, I assure you. Allow me to introduce you to Mr. Sherlock Holmes. He's a detective. No doubt you've heard of him. I'll wait for you in front of the cabin, Mr. Holmes.
My condolences, Mrs. Carey.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes.
Так, что выбирать? Что-нибудь необычное той ночью, когда нас летела, если дома.
Madam, can you tell me if you saw or heard anything unusual on the night of the
А что,
murder?
даже выбор есть?
At 2 o'clock in the morning, I heard a terrible scream. I thought nothing of it then. He would scream all the time when he was drunk.
Can you please tell me what occurred on the evening of the murder?
Well, Peter got drunk in the evening. He was in such a terrible temper. Usually whenever that happened, he'd stay all night drinking in his cabin before passing out.
Do you remember at what time you found your husband's body?
In the morning, at around 7 o'clock, I noticed the cabin door was open, but I didn't go in to take a look, for I knew my husband would not have liked it. At around 10 o'clock, I dared to
Текстура
glance
тут
into the
красивая,
door and
однако.
open it.
Проработано что-то. Есть
The
ли...
garden is very large and well maintained. Do you employ someone to look after it?
It is true, there is a lot of work, but my husband took care of it himself.
Was your husband accustomed to receiving visitors?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I mean, he didn't really have many friends. He lived quite an isolated life here, after his retirement.
И что делать? Еще что-то осталось. Что? А, вот. Камея. Значит,
You have indeed suffered a great loss, Mrs. Carey. Nevertheless, I believe it will be less of a burden for you soon.
Yes, life with Peter was never easy, but he was still my husband.
He was different, wasn't he, when you first met him upon your return from Plymouth?
Yes, Mr. Holmes. Oh, my goodness, how do you know about that?
прослушал что-то.
You undertook a pilgrimage to the Cathedral of Santiago de Compostela when you were young. That much is evident from the rosary in your hand. The shortest route for the pilgrim from England to Spain is from Plymouth. I believe that you met Peter Carey as a young sailor there, and you married him soon afterwards.
That is indeed what happened, Mr. Holmes. How extraordinary.
Thank you, madam.
Who could do such a thing? My poor husband.
Mr. Holmes? Mr. Holmes?
Мистер Холмс, мистер Холмс. Так, значит, что дальше делать? Ой, это за звуки такие были? Я чуть не понял. Чуть я не понял вообще. Так, куда дальше? Я чуть не понимаю вообще маленько. Возможно, сюда.
It seems that the garden was well maintained.
Peter Carey's body is inside the cabin. We took care not to touch anything.
Да пошел ты.
The door is locked.
Wait just a moment, Mr. Holmes, and I'll open it. I locked it yesterday to ensure that no one should enter the cabin and tamper with the evidence.
Ah, good thinking.
Hello, hello, hello.
What is it, Lestrade?
It seems to me that someone has tried to force it, Mr. Holmes.
Let me see.
А ну-ка. Ой-ой-ой.
These scratches are fresh.
Свежие царапины, значит. Вот так вот.
You're right. Someone tried to
Пытался
force
открыть
open
дверь.
the door.
I swear these scratches were not here yesterday.
Our mysterious visitor came here last night.
Well, he's not the man for the job. This lock is not a difficult one.
Perhaps he did not have the right tool.
Так. Значит. Ужас.
What a terrible way to die. This place is not covered with dust, like the rest of the shelf. An object was taken from here. It was larger than a book. A box or a small chest, perhaps. The tooth of a sperm whale, probably from one of Peter Carey's catches. The ship's logs of the Sea Unicorn for the years 1878 to 1884. Peter Carey was her captain. The ship's logs of the Sea Unicorn for the years 1878 to 1884. Peter Carey was her captain. Peter Carey's boots. They look to be a size 8. Old navigation instruments. Nothing interesting. Harpoons for hunting whales. The weapon fully penetrated the body. The force of the blow was immense. This man is in his 50s, yet he still looks quite strong. JHN are probably the initials of the owner of this notebook. J.H. This wooden handle is plain and solid. This blood is from the pool underneath the dead body. Peter Carey tried to defend himself with this knife, but he did not succeed. Peter Carey was impaled to the wall by a whaling harpoon. Peter Carey was fully dressed. He was not caught by surprise. It is possible that he knew his murderer.
Что-то я не понял, что делать надо. Так, на теле все просмотрим. А здесь нет.
JHN.
Что-то я не пойму немножко.
The pattern of the blood stain indicates that the notebook was not lying on the floor prior to the crime, but it was dropped into the pool. These abbreviations mean something, but what?
Такс.
Someone drank from this glass recently. The initial. This aroma is familiar, but to recognize it, I must construct my associations in one picture.
Что за фигня? Вот так. Ага, вон что это. А это что такое? Как же собрать эту картину интересненько? Ага. Чё ж такое? Ага.
This is a coarse tobacco, quite strong and very popular among sailors.
Так.
Rum, a sailor's drink. It seemed that Captain Carey was enjoying a drink before he met his death.
Так, дальше делать? Опять смотрел. Смотрели. Стоп.
Hammerfest. Dundee. It's a whaling map. The ship's logs of the Sea Unicorn. Someone was here yesterday. They attempted to force the door to gain entry.
Отлично. Так.
This place, an object was taken.
Well, Mr. Holmes, what do you think?
I think that we are lucky.
And why is that?
Because of last night's attempted break-in.
Oh, you've lost me.
It is very probable that whoever came here hoped to find the door open. They tried to force it with a knife blade, but they failed. What will they do? Why, return tonight, when they will be better prepared.
Aha! So what do you propose?
We shall remain on the outside, near the window, where we stand the best chance of catching sight of our visitor. Well, gentlemen, ready your pistols. We have a long night ahead of us.
Такс.
We need to find a good place for an ambush. Mr. Holmes?
Это
We need
Холмс.
to find a good place for an ambush. Perhaps behind Carey's cabin.
Так.
This looks like the perfect hiding place.
Так, значит, ничего. Так, ну, ночь, засада будет в следующей серии, а на этом первая серия подходит к концу. Ставьте лайки, подписывайтесь на канал. Пока-пока.